In the end, our marriage was decided by one coffee and one fruit juice. வணக்கம் Hauterrfly.
எங்கள் கல்யாண கதையை தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறதுக்கு உங்களை வரவேற்கிறோம். So we met on 24th December 95. I went to her house. It was slightly awkward.
At that point, I was not even really thinking about marriage. I was kind of reluctant, to the prospect of getting married. Traditionally, in Tamil we call this ponnu paakkaradu. During that event, they have something called soji bhaji. Soji bhaji is basically you make a sweet and a savory item. So normally you make a bhaji or you make a bonda. This is a sweet like a keshari or something like that. So at that point I never cooked at all. I think I could barely boil water at that point. My only condition to agree to this ceremony was that I wouldn't be made to dress up. So my mother then told me, she said, I agree to all your conditions, but there is one condition, that you will also learn to shut up your mouth. I said, okay, I can live with that. So I remember I wore one white salwar kameez with a very colorful sambalpuri dupatta. I think those days that was the fashion. And I remember Anand wore a pink shirt with stripes and beige trousers, and he wore very simple footwear when he came, and he left it outside. So moment he walked in, I remember my brother and my father, that's the first thing they saw. And I could see that, they had already, they both shook their heads, which meant that, this one is a go.
I remember that we were allowed, permitted to spend some time alone to understand each other. You didn't know what to ask, you didn't know what to say, but we kind of gauged each other out. I thought she was generally very cheerful. She smiled a lot. If you find each other's company pleasant at the beginning, that's a very good start. Then finally, I could just have coffee, and that was nice. At some point, her mother asked me, do you want another one? I thought, yeah, excellent, I'll have another coffee, and that's it.
So we went out to this restaurant called Peshawari. Those days it was one of the most iconic restaurants in Chennai. And Anand's father had told the restaurant to seat us at a very romantic table. So when we went to the restaurant, they told us, here is your romantic table. I think the dinner lasted some 25 to 30 minutes. We tried very hard to ask each other questions. We asked each other's full name, we asked each other's educational qualification. Then Anand mentioned something about chess. He tried explaining, what chess is about. And I was in advertising at that time. I tried explaining. And by then we had nothing more. So we had dessert, we paid the bill, and we came out. So when we came out, actor Arvind Swamy was entering the restaurant. And at that time, he was the rage in Chennai. So when I saw Arvind Swamy, I froze. So next thing I know, Anand goes and talks to him. Then Anand comes back, he says, that guy is Arvind Swamy, he's some kind of famous actor. I was like, really? You know him? He said, yeah, we studied in school together. My eyes just fell out there itself. And I think then I thought, okay, Anand must not be so bad, he must be kind of a cool guy. So that's how it started. I remember also those days, to make ISD calls, it was quite it was a family event. The whole family would stand behind me, and I would call. Very reluctantly, he would say yes, and I would say yes, and then we would discuss the weather. Oh, the sky is blue there. How is the sky where you are? It's very blue also. So then we would do this for 5 minutes, and the whole family, they ask more questions. Oh, how is your chess? And then we did this once or twice, and then Anand at some point told me, I think it must have taken him a lot of courage. He said, don't call. Every time you call, that day I'm losing the game. So then I turned around and told my father, don't make me do this again, okay? It doesn't seem to be working. But I think looking back, it's nice that you get into a relationship without, looking at green flags or red flags, but that you just enjoy the journey. And I think when you have no expectations, you just roll with it.
I don't think we really fought before the wedding.
Before the wedding, we hardly spoke.
Exactly.
Then where could
we couldn't really fight. I mean, there were some fun things. I would call her from a tournament in Holland. I told her, look, my hands are freezing. I'm going to put the phone down, and came because it was that cold. And I think she couldn't understand how something can be so cold that you have to put the phone down.
I'm a Chennai girl. The coldest we see is 21 degrees in December and we wear sweaters.
My timing was not amazing in those days.
Anand said yes pretty quickly. I think his mother asked him, ponnu pidichada? I mean, are you okay with the girl? And I think I always keep teasing Anand that he was thinking about some chess move. His mother said, did you like the girl? And he said, oh, and he went away. And only later, I think he realized what he had said yes to. Then his father called my parents and said, his father worked in the railways. So he had a lot of this railway language about him. So I remember he called my father and he used this very railway phrase saying, my son has given the green signal, what about yours? And my parents had not yet asked me the question because they were not sure about me. So when I came back from work, my brother suddenly was so nice to me. He said, come, I'll get you a juice. By the way, Anand seems like a very nice man. So by this time I knew something had happened. I said, why, what happened? Has he said yes? She said, yes, they have said yes, and Amma is very scared to ask you the question. I said, oh, that's why they sent you and you had to act nice to me. He said, basically, yes. I knew that I had to marry him. In the end, our marriage was decided by one coffee and one fruit juice. In those days, there was no wedding planner. It was all very casual. The priests on both sides had to align and synchronize time and date and all of that. But the religious ceremonies were always, given a lot of importance. Also, a lot of our Tamilian weddings, they happen at very early in the morning. So I think the only thing that we had to prepare for was to wake up and make it physically to the wedding venue. Sometimes I would be taken on these shopping expeditions and these women would buy bangles and bindis and this and that. I would be like always grumbling in the background, I'm getting bored, My mother will say, pretend to be a woman. So I remember my mother sat me down and she said, if you're getting married, and as a married woman, you should always wear a bindi. Your hands, you should have like something on your hands, something on your neck, and something on your ears. So I would find the smallest earrings, the smallest necklace, and the smallest 2 bangles. So almost like a bucket list. When it starts, we have something called pandakal. Pandakal basically means you put the pandal outside the house. You put mango leaves and there is a small prayer that you do. That is kind of to signify that from now on, the festivities are going to start. Then the girls' side and the boys' side at times also have something called Sumangali Prathana. So Sumangali Prathana basically is when you take the blessings of the married women, and there is a special kind of meal that is prepared for that day. And after that Sumangali Prathana, we make mehendi, which is like, but we grind it with the leaves, not the the cone mehendi. I was just wearing my pajamas and sitting, and some lady was feeding me food, and with that it was over. Then is the actual, you go to the mandapam. The first one is the vridam. Vridam means fast. So basically you fast till the ceremonies are over, and you take the blessings of all the elders. You remember Anand Vridam was very early in the morning.
Yeah.
In most of the pictures, I think we are barely keeping our eyes open. So I remember before this Vridam, in our house the electricity had gone. It was like some 3:30 in the morning. And we had to get ready and be in the mandapam by like 6 o'clock in the morning. So I remember my 3 cousins. Their job was to stand with torchlights while I got ready. I remember we all had a line for the bathroom, and because I was the bride, I always got to decide when I could use any facility. And after that, each one held the torchlight for the next person, and that's how all of us got ready and made it to the mandapam. And then the evening is what is the Nichyadartham. Nichyadartham is the official engagement. That is where you exchange tambalam, where they exchange gifts. And the Manjapatrika, it's like a yellow invitation, and normally even now in our weddings, the traditional invitation is always written in Tamil and it is printed on a yellow sheet of paper. Yellow because it's an auspicious color. And over there, the priest reads out the actual wedding. You don't take your actual names, but you use your names that you are ordained. Like Anand takes his name of his grandfather, which is Sri Krishna. And I take the name of my grandmother, which is Rukmani. And it was celestial match, if you can be romantic to say that Rukmani and Krishna, it happened like that. And also we have another nice tradition in our weddings. Kashi, nee solre Kashi.
Yeah, and in the middle of the wedding, the groom has develops cold feet and tries to run off to Kashi. Father of the bride chases him and persuades him to come back. You have to do that Kashi run.
Kashi Yatra. We have what is called an unjal ceremony. So the boy and girl are made to sit on a swing, and at that time the girl's side and the boy's side. So there'll be women on both sides. They make up songs. So, they'll make songs on the bride and the groom and kind of taunts how Anand plays chess, but how the queen is going to show him that she's more powerful. Things like this. And the women, that is the women on both sides, always it is an odd number. They go around the swing, there's a lamp, there is, certain things they have to take and swing. Then they kind of they make like balls made of rice. It is red, green and yellow normally, and they have to kind of, like warding off the evil eye kind of thing. So that is a ceremony. And after that, we have this Mala Matapta. So the maternal uncle on both sides, you have to hoist them up and you have to throw garlands. And the thing is, you should throw all your garlands and have no garlands left on you. That is the game. So actually, the day of the wedding, there is a tradition where the bride's parents go to the groom's house and they give something called Yenna Shika. So basically, you give gingerly oil and the Shika powder. So I remember my parents had gone very early in the morning to your house. I think it was 4:30 or 5 in the morning. So I remember my parents went and they gave this and they came back home, and my mother said, என்னடி எல்லாரும் தூங்கிட்டு இருக்காவா வீட்டில் they're all still sleeping. Here we were all ready, and my father had created a roster of which car should leave at what time and who should get into which car. So we were all waiting to jump into the car, and I said, Anand is still sleeping over there. And my mother was very nervous that this family is not going to land up on time, but they all managed on time. So we have Kanyadanam or Mangaladhanam, where Kanyadanam is you giving away the Kanya. Danam is giving away. So normally the girl is seated on the father's lap and the groom ties the thali. This gold thali that we have is given after the marriage. So actually they don't tie the gold thali on that day. They tie the yellow thread. So it's a thread which has been seasoned with turmeric and all that. That is the yellow thread that is tied. And then the husband ties the first 2 knots, and the 3rd knot is tied by the sister of the groom. And the brother of the bride, he will put the puffed rice into the fire, establishing the family support system. Marriage is not that Anand married Aruna, but the 2 families now have become one. So the thing is, when they tie the thali, there'll always be one enthusiastic man who will sit there and he'll put his hand up and he will, do that. And that is a cue for immediately the Nadaswaram and Taval will start playing. So that's also a very cute tradition. And we have something called Saptapadi. So we take the 7 steps. And at that time, the husband has to hold the toe of the wife and take her round. At each step, we say a mantra. So that is very important. Then you get ready for the reception. The reception is mostly social function, that people come and kind of greet you. And that was the first time I met a lot of Anand's friends who had come in from abroad.
So I think they were very curious to experience an Indian wedding. There are a couple of funny stories. Oh God, I don't know how many times people told me, you've been checkmated. Funny thing is, you have to pretend it's funny and like you're hearing it for the first time and smile.
You found your queen.
You found your queen. Almost always telling a chess player a checkmate joke just doesn't work.
But I remember there was one person who came very hesitantly and he said, "Sir," and Anand said, "Yes, I have been checkmated. Thank you very much." So I think we had a nice time, and now looking back, sadly that was the last time so many of us were together.
Well, it's going to be 30 years in June since we got married, and that's a nice milestone to reach.
எங்க கல்யாண கதை உங்களுக்கு எல்லாம் பிடிச்சதா?
மிக நன்றி.